Assalamualaikum and hi. Today our group are going to presenting about stereotype in Malaysia. Before that, I want to introduce my group member. We have HAZIQ, Danial and THAQIF. So let's go.
So my name is I'm HAZIQ. So let me give you an introduction about what is stereotype. So stereotype involves an overgeneralization about a certain categories of people, which can limit their perception and experiences. Uh, and a simple example would be we have a general perception that girls are more docile and have the feeling that to want to please other people. We have that perception about girls. And another example is we have a perception that boys are not good listeners and they are less attentive to other people. This is one of the examples of a stereotype that most people in this world have. A stereotype is not based on an individual behavior, but more on the group, the behavior of a group, like a mass cultural beliefs about a certain group. Next,
So, my name is Muhammad THAQIF. So, we are going to talk about stereotype in Malaysia. As we all know that Malaysia is a multicultural country that consists of Malays, Chinese, Indians, and etc. However, we have three main ethnic, which is Chinese, Malays, and Indian, that have their own differences and culture as well. So, this is why I believe that Malaysia is a unique country because of this different culture and life of style. However, Malaysia is also known for being the most racist country in the world as well. Stereotypes in Malaysia actually is not just based on the races itself. It's also based on the state, um, occupation, and more. So for this presentation, we are going to talk about the stereotype in Malaysia for government employees.
Okay. So for our group, we are going to talk about stereotype of government employees. So there are five things that we are going to present you. So the first of all is corruption, and the second one is abuse of power, and the third one is gender, and the second last is lazy, and the last one is uneducated. So in the next slide, we are going to give you all about this thing with detail. So I'm going to pass to my friend Takif.
So for the first stereotype of government employees in Malaysia, I believe that some of Malaysians believe uniform department is corrupted as heck. Almost every single day in social media or even on news, um, there were always these guys who being caught for being involved in these cases. MACC, Malaysian Anti-Corruption Corporation, report that uh, Uniform Department is one of the highest department that involved in these cases. So this bring the stereotype to Malaysian that uniform departments such as police, JPJ, immigrations, and more are just nothing but corrupted department. A few years ago, when I was driving back home, I was being pulled over by a policeman for speeding. Out of nowhere, he asked me to give him money if I don't want to get into any trouble. I refused to give him money because I believe that corruption is not a good thing to do. After that, that policeman just sue me for speeding ticket and just hand me over the ticket. After that experience, I believe that most of these uh, uniform departments are corrupted and uh, they don't care, they don't give a damn our safety or anything about us. They only care about money. Next, when an individual in charge takes advantage of their power to bully, manipulate, and more, is considered as abuse of power. Abuse of power also occurs when a leader financially, physically, or sexually abuse the public or even their juniors. Most of these committee members use their power in order to help their relative to get employment easily. Based on my experience, I used to face these people before. I want to apply for a part-time job during my semester break. However, I ended up bottled up because of the manager wanted to appoint his cousin, even though his cousin did not even attend the interview and didn't even have a qualification for that job. I think that people who have power should be more responsible and honest in their work. Let the people who qualify and deserve to be and work there.
So the third point is about stereotypes of gender in government employees. This type of stereotype is just for certain occupation in the Malaysian government and are only belong to a certain gender. For example, the Malaysian community mindset always thinks that nurses and teachers are just for women. People always believe that the uniform department is just for men, like police, soldiers, and firemen, although there are men and women in these departments. Those who are related to this stereotype and have the ambition to become a nurse or police will be discouraged from pursuing this ambition. This stereotype also happened because of the history where one gender only dominate a certain occupation. So my experience that can relate to my real life is when my father was working as a nurse. Many people ask me why my dad became a nurse and did not find any different work. So in my mind, I think that why and what I need to answer these questions. So the solution that I found is I just tell them that different people have different desires. So why do we need to follow other opinions? We just need to follow what we want in our life. And I know this kind of stereotype can be solved with that kind of answer. But this was my method to solve this thing.
So, on to the next stereotype for government employees. So, the next one is government employees are lazy and likes to slack off. So, this is a stereotype where a lot of Malaysians believe that people that work for the government, they are mostly people that are very lazy and likes to slack off and don't take their work very seriously. And this brings the implication of negatively ruining the images of people that are a government employee, and this can make their morale go down when working for their occupation. An example of this would be you can see and know that a lot of government employees they like to take a lot of coffee or tea breaks. Uh, After lunch break, there is also a tea break, and after their breakfast, there's also brunch. They like to take a lot of breaks in between their works. So this is a personal experience for myself. So once I went to a government clinic, and it took a long time for my turn to come. There was a long queue of people, but the counter was not full. There's like six counters, but there are only three or two clerks in the clinic, and this made the process more lengthy and more longer. But I believe that this does not apply to all government employees, and it's only a few people that are ruining the image of government employees. And I think that the way to combat this stereotype is to make the protocol in the government office more stricter and not let everyone just slack off or become lazy during work. And last but not least is a stereotype that government employees are uneducated. There's this general belief that people that work for the government does not have a high educational background. And an example of this is the army. People tend to believe that people that join the army does not have a high education, and all you need is an SPM. Also, for people that apply for the SPA, they do not need a high level of education, and this is become a general belief for all government employees, even though it is not applicable to all government employees. So as for my real life experience for this stereotype, I don't have any real life experience, but I can debunk or show that this stereotype isn't really that true. Because I have a friend that it goes to UPNM. At the same time, he is receiving training to become a soldier. He is also continuing his studies in aeronautical engineering, if I'm not mistaken. See, people that become the army does not mean that they have no educational background. Same for all others, government employees. So for us to get rid of this stereotype, we all need to become more open-minded. We don't need to judge people by the educational background. So that's all.
So for the conclusion, some of these stereotypes that we have mentioned are true, but it does not apply to all government employees. Rather, these stereotypes were born due to a few bad apples that ruined the reputation of the government employees in Malaysia. Therefore, we should not blindly believe in these stereotypes, but instead judge these employees by the individual character. So that's all from our team. Thank you for your listening.